This is what you can expect. A lot of this. Welcome boys and some girls. This video is targeted more to non-MapleStory players, however not so up-to-date players might also find this interesting. Let's get into it. First, this game is quite old and it might be taking a different approach in the coming years. To explain that, I need to explain to you how content was coming out since the game came out. Maple has a few versions like Global, Japan, Taiwan, and the Korean one, which is the main one. All versions start with the Korean one and then change from there to fit the audience more depending on the geographical location. I'm not going to explain all the types and what they mean because first, I'm not an expert, and second, I'm sure there are way more videos that can explain more in detail what each one does. Obviously, I only play GMS, so I can't comment on more stuff. What you need to know is that GMS, Global MapleStory, is very similar to the Korean one, and it kind of created a lot of problems in the past. Now that you know how content comes out, the GMS, obviously Global MapleStory, it will be taking a different path from the KMS, Korean MapleStory. We do not have details about what kind of changes will occur. We were supposed to have like a roadmap, some kind of stuff, but the devs said they needed more time to figure out what the changes will be. I have given you this disclaimer because things I'm saying in this video might change in the near or the far future. Another fact you should care for is that I'm a returning player. I played 11 years ago and I came back now. And since I came back, I have 750 hours on the game, about 750 hours. Now we can finally start the video for real. Story. I'm not going to spoil almost anything. What you need to know is that the story is set in stone. You can't change the story path or anything like that. Most of the story comes in the forms of walls of text, or in the newer parts come with some voice acting sprinkled in there, but it's still mostly walls of text. The overall big story is basically you're a guy and you need to defeat the bad guy. That's it. It has some more somewhat different stories and sub-stories and stuff like that, but mostly it's you're the good guy, you need to defeat the bad guy. Obviously it changes over time because the game is very old, so they had to adapt the story. Regarding the quality of the story, it varies a lot. Some stories are very interesting and will make you wonder about correlations to real life, as well as some funny cameos like the Superman's disguise in the Mushroom Kingdom quests and stuff like that. Most of the story, however, makes no sense. I'm not sure if the problem is translation or simply lack of care. Some characters are given certain titles that can change in the next chat box. Overall, if you have patience, I say go for it and experience it as much as you can. If you don't enjoy a certain quest, just don't do it. Performance. The game has a very recognizable art style that can hold many years due to its unique, cutesy, pixelated cartoon style. But that's also its flaw. The game can sort of hold on its own as it is, and the devs don't really try to focus on update a lot of the stuff. Connection problem with the majority of the problems I had so far. Just changing channels or simply doing an action too fast could cause the game to freeze and even crash. Back to the main screen. Another thing players just love to meme to the ground is that after most maintenances, the server crash again. After 20 minutes of uptime, they crash again for another 5 to 7 hours, or maybe even more. Overall, you get used to most of the little bugs and learn to play around them. It's not like you have a choice. Gameplay. This is the part where many people come to play Maple. The amount of choices you have, it's crazy, but so is the time investment. All of the following details come from Heroic World, also called Reboot, meaning it's a bit different from the normal Maple you know if you're a returning player. If you don't, it's a more free to play, I guess, world. You can buy some more stuff if you just play the game. MapleStory is a 2.5D side scroller that has you upgrading your character over time to grind higher and higher bosses and mobs. Just so you can understand how many systems are in the game and how many stuff a new player has to deal with and research. We have skills, hyper skills, stats, hyper stats, arcane symbols, sacred symbols, familiars, inner ability, how to read the stat windows, daily quest, guild menus, party menus, boss menus, event menus, Maple guide, quick move and its own shops, reward shops. For equipment you have flames, cubes, stars, and scrolls if you're on the normal servers, not a reboot. For maps you have Star Force, Burning, Arcane Power and Sacred Power. I'm sure I missed something, I have some in my head right now, but I'm not going to bombard you even more. But looking at this is scary as it is. Imagine a new player trying to see all of this, especially after you hear all the bad things about the company. Okay, so when you log in, you need to choose a character out of 50 classes. Yes, 50 classes. Obviously, not all of them are the same. There is a meta, some of them are bad, some of them are good. I'm not gonna expand on that. Each class can be leveled up to level 300.
Oh! There it is.
And get 6 jobs, meaning 6 sets of skills you can unlock at level 10, 30, 60, 100, 200, and 260. For most jobs, you will only use the 4th job skills and above. 1 to 3 are mostly for when you level up, like until level 100. Just like any other game, when you gain a level, you gain points to strengthen your skills. And also like any other game, besides skills, you also get equipment. By here, you have 0 choices. There are best in slot items, and they are the best to have, no argument to be had. Most of the gear is a treadmill of years and years of raising the level cap, as long with releasing a new gear set. So we started at 200, then 250, 275, and finally now 300, and I'm sure it's going to be raised even more. I'm not going to explain how many items you can have, what they do. There are so many videos for that, and it's going to take hours if I do that. All you need to know is that each scenario has its best build, we should say. For example, % drop if you want to go farm regular mobs, or % boss damage if you want to do your boss runs. Luckily the dev realized how annoying this is. You still need to create 2 different sets of items to do that, but they give you an easier stuff. They give you a preset window you can just basically change, and it changes a bunch of stuff. So obviously I showed you before how many systems there are, and a lot of them give you the option for either mobbing or bossing. So you can change from there like a bunch of settings all at once into the mobbing or bossing, whatever you choose to do this moment. To just finish talking about the bosses, they are the main way you can gain new gear, and they split into daily, weekly, and monthly bosses. In a general rule, the longer cooldown, the harder the boss and the better the loot. Most of the time you will be on your own, grinding for money and EXP, and you will aim to defeat bosses alone, so you don't need to share your rewards with other players. The game doesn't really have the holy trinity like DPS, tank, and healer, so you don't really need to play with other players. There's obviously much more to say about the combat and the gameplay in detail, very heavy detail, but it just won't end if I'm just gonna keep detailing what the game is. I will just keep it at surface level. Social. For the social aspect, I just touched it a tiny bit in the previous part, but the players in the game are mostly very friendly and they just love to hate on the game, but they still play it year after year. Because obviously it's a known fact that if you played a long time in one game and then you go play another game, it means you wasted your time in the other game. So it means you're a loser. You'll find that most players just simply accept the problems the game has. They just live with it and they continue. They try to work around some bugs, some stuff. They just try to work around it and continue living as it is. You definitely don't need any help until the end game to actually accomplish anything. But if you do get any help, you will progress and grow much faster. You can get to do bosses you didn't think you could ever do, because people can carry you, do hard bosses for you. You just need to do a set amount of damage and you can actually get the drops from those bosses. I don't really have much to add to that because the game is no longer an MMO, it's an SMO. Monetization. The game is free to all, 0 entry cost. You won't even feel the transactions until the mid game, when you actually need to grind for money. Just a small taste for you. If you're a regular free-to-play player, when you go grinding, your pets that you get from events or from the in-game shops follow you around. They move around you and collect items in a set distance away from you. However, they only collect items from your platform, the one you're standing on. Now, if you want, you can buy a pet from the store that comes at a cheap price of $100, $70 if you do a lot of bosses in-game, and it's only 1 pet. You can have 3 pets. But wait, the fun doesn't end here. Eventually the pet will wither away and you will want to revive it. It's $15 every month, 10.5 if you actually do a lot of bosses, as I said previously in the game. To be fair with them, you can actually get the same pet from events very rarely. If I'm not wrong, it's like 1 time in the last 2 years. I may be wrong. It's what I heard from other friends that play longer than me. I could be wrong. So yeah, money will help you in the game. You can get discounts and more stuff, just like when you waste money Same as at the mobile games, you have like prestige tiers. You waste more money, then you can get more rewards, more stuff. Just the same as mobile games. Summary: the game is free. Go play it for a bit and see if you like it. Don't listen to me. For my opinion, yeah, the game is fun. If you're ready to sell your soul and your time, sure, enjoy it. I enjoy just sitting there in the same app, grinding for 10 hours, just catching up on YouTube drama or watching documentaries to further my knowledge. If you plan to play casually, like a few hours a week, you can definitely progress and advance in the game, but by the time you reach the current end game, MapleStory 3 will already be a dying game. If you want to know more about how much you need to progress, go watch De Niro on YouTube. Great guy. First guy to hit level 300. You will realize how long it is. To end on a positive note, the game currently sees an increase in players on Steam. If you can check the Steam charts, I attribute it to more players leaving the MapleStory launcher and joining Steam. Just like in most games, most players go to Steam because Steam it's very easy. Just stuff operate on its own. Everything is in one store. Way easier. Another thing that I think is hopeful all the players return to the game because they want to have their base ready for whenever Nexon is going to announce what's going to be going on with GMS. So they already have they kind of have hopes for what's going on. Maybe it's going to be like the same old days. That's all for me. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, well, wasted a few minutes. Keep yourself safe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.